so this is going to be a Copic tutorial coloring video. I'm not an expert at all. I never taken a class. I just basically have learned by trial and error and watching a few YouTube videos here and there. I, however, think that images like this, where there's a lot of open space and not a lot of tiny space, is the easiest way to learn how to color at the very beginning. So the first little thing I'm going to color is the manger. And for that, I'm going to use 3 colors. Now, if you don't have these 3 colors, use 3 colors that you do have. It doesn't have to be these exact 3 colors. So E34, E35, and E23. Those are the 3 that I'll be using. And my first tip for you is to take off the lids of every marker. They're not going to dry out, and it's easier just to take them off and leave them off while you're coloring so that you don't have to be like off on with your actual colors. So I like to just make a little swatch of the colors, like if you weren't using the whole thing, just so I know, because even though, like, so E23, which I believe, yeah, it's that first one, it looks darker than E34, but it's really not that much darker. Oops. So see how light the lid is here? So it's not necessarily true. Actually, I think I'm going to lay down a color of, a whole base color first of the E11. So I'm just going to take that and lightly, and I'm not really going to the edges, just kind of laying down a little bit of color to get the paper wet. And then I'm going to take my, actually my E23, and I start at the edge and I press down and flick. To get the color kind of going. And I am right-handed, so I like to flick from me towards my project. So I always turn my projects. You, however, do not have to do that. It's totally personal preference. And then I'm just going to take where the little points of the hay is coming down. Just flick that also, because it will be darker. Okay, and then E34. And I go right on top of that, what I've already just placed down. And you can see that the E34 is quite darker. And wherever you lay your marker down, so like I lay here and then flick, this part is going to be the darkest. So E35. So place down and flick. Where I flick, it's going to blend more. I hope that makes sense. And then go to my second lightest color. And then my lightest of the 3. Kind of to blend that out a little bit, and it's okay that I got it a little bit in the heart. I'm going to be going over that with red. And then just taking my E11 again to blend out those colors. And really blend it. Don't be shy of laying down color. And since I don't have one between these two, I'm going to take E23 and E11 here. And I'm going to just take and get some color, can you see it on the nib? And flick it on there. So it kind of makes a middle color and it helps to blend it out a little more. Okay, so there's that. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing to the legs. I like to do things in sections so that my cardstock stays wet. So I know that underneath is going to be a lot darker than below because it has the shade of the manger. You notice I got like a little bit of dark brown up there. So I just took my E11 before it dried and kind of wiped it, and it will blend it back into the cardstock. And then E23. And then I'm just going to take it up from the bottom, E23. E11. Then grab the E23, get some on the nib. Just to blend the colors. And there is the manger. All right, so I'm going to leave the E11 out because I will be using that. Next, I'm going to do little baby Jesus's face. And for that, I will be using E000, E00, and E11. So my E000 first, the whole face. E00. E11. Now I'm just barely putting any E11 on there. E00. Blend that out. And then E000. And it gives it that nice little glow on top because that's where the light obviously would hit it. For the hay, I have YR00 and YR12. So I'm just going to take and put the YR00 all over the hay. And then take the YR12 where the little tips are and kind of flick up. I know it kind of looks silly right now, but I'll fix it. And then flip it this way and kind of almost draw a little bit of a line at the top because that would be the darkest. Flick towards the middle and then take your YR00 in the middle again. And then grab your YR12, grab a little bit on the tip, and kind of place it in the middle. And then I'm going to take my YR12 one more time and put them on the edges just to give it a little more color. Of that yellow color instead of being so brown. So it looks like golden hay. The heart, I'm just going to use an R27 and I'm just coloring it in. You could highlight it if you really wanted to, which would not be difficult at all to do. I just figured I'd just color it because I'm going to put a little glossy accents on top of it. All right, so now we have the swaddling clothes here. I'm going to use two colors. I'm going to use BG10 and BG11. And if you don't already know this, Copic markers, see how it has this gray line here? That is for your brush nib. Otherwise, the other one is for the other nib. So that's how you always know which end to pull off. So you're not double pulling all the time. Okay, so just put a layer of the BG10 and then you can notice how I drew them so they would be separate pieces. So wherever a piece is, I'm going to come from the corner here and pull up and down to make them a little more defined so it doesn't look like just a big blanket has been laid. And I'm really going to go over it a few times. When you do this, this will also give you a highlight. Let me zoom in just a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about a little better. All right, I'll try to keep my hand out of the way. So just going up. And then pulling down. Just a tiny bit. You'll notice I'm not really adding much color. I'm just barely touching it, and I've gone over that like what 3 times, and that just basically makes it the next Copic color up. So it like as if I had the next Copic color, and then it gives it that really great highlight in the middle also. Okay, the last thing, well actually I have 2 more things. So I have the cute little bird here that I'm going to do in the same blues. So I didn't need to put those away. This would be adorable to do in red also, to do a little red bird since you have the red heart already on the manger. So just grab the tails here, flick to the middle. And I'm going to go over it a couple times, right underneath the wing. Like that. And then we have the star. Oh, let me just color in that beak really quickly. I will use the Y17, just a little. Okay, and then for the star, I have Y15, Y18, and Y17. So just go over the whole star. And then Y17, come in from each point. Now you can color yours however you want. This is just how I'm coloring mine. Doesn't mean that this is the only way to color it. And then the Y18, which is just a shade darker. It's kind of funny whenever I color, I'm always a little bit leery at the beginning because I feel like it kind of looks ugly until I add like a lot more layers. And then Y17. And then once I start adding the layers, I'm like, oh, it looks so awesome. So really, it's just something you have to kind of work at. And then the lightest Y15. And I like to just kind of blend that in there. And there's our start. It's okay that I went out of the lines because it'll be cut out. So there are the images that we colored today, and if you want to see what I do with these images, feel free to look in the video and in the Alleyway Stamp videos and see what creations I made with them. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and we'll go and create something that's perfectly imperfect. Bye.